Let's talk about the shameful display yesterday of John Durham in the House.
Those who are trying to cover up this chapter in history are not doing the nation a good service.
It was a big waste. I think it was meant to be a distraction from the indictment counts that Donald Trump is facing, and I think it failed.
You could really see his bias into thinking that what the Trump campaign did was fine, that he wasn't going to call it collusion, even though there is no other name for what the Trump campaign tried to do.
And I'm here today to set the record straight about this political investigation conducted on behalf of the twice impeached, twice indicted former white supremacist in chief, Donald Trump.
Mr. Durham, the guy that was over at Intel Radcliffe, they are a nightmare for the rule of law.
I think he did intentionally misrepresent and skew his findings in order to support the basic premise of his investigation.
Well, let's bring in former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. Governor, it's like John Durham does this massive investigation. It takes his time, very thorough. And because he didn't indict Donald Trump of something, anything, they're calling it a big waste of time and they're ticked off to the leftists. Your thoughts?
Well, it sounds like there's a little bit of disappointment on both sides, though, Eric, because the report proved that some of the main characters were not even investigated. This could have been much, much worse, meaning much, much more realistic against the Biden family, really, had some of those players actually been investigated. I was shocked that some of the evidence was ignored. And I think that really disappointed the right. And of course, the left, they're going to gripe about anything that touches negatively any of their players. So that was a given.
And I watched that hearing. It was another one of those hearings on Capitol Hill, Governor, where no matter who it is, you put someone on or what the topic is, one side is horrified, the other side is thrilled. We have such a divided political atmosphere, environment in the country. I don't know how it gets any better.
It's clearly divided, and it should be divided because there is right and there is wrong. There is good and there is bad. Bad things are happening in this administration, and it's adversely affecting every one of our lives in America. That's bad. So those who stand for good and truth and just want the truth presented, there's a clear line of division between the two camps. It's pretty simple, good and bad, truth and lies.
Or, as they say, wrong and right. Governor, John Durham was in the hot seat, and there was a congressman, I believe Steve Cohen, who was ripping him and really going after his character because he couldn't find anything on Donald Trump. Listen to this interchange. It's really good.
My concern about my reputation is with the people who I respect and my family and my Lord. And I'm perfectly comfortable with my reputation with them, sir.
And so, good answer by John Durham, because Cohen was like, your reputation is shot because you didn't indict Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, see, and then some on the right are going to say his reputation is shot because he wasn't aggressive enough. And easy for me to say sitting here, we can all be kind of cocky as armchair quarterbacks and say he should have been more aggressive. And it was surprising that he seemed so, even the way he articulated and his intonation, he seemed a little bit intimidated by those who are on the other side of the dais. And yet the facts that he presented proved, of course, that Biden is corrupt, Hunter Biden is corrupt. But again, I think he could have come across as more, as tougher, as harder, and not as intimidated sounding. And I think that would at least given one of the sides, the right side in this case, some confidence in the report. But don't you think, Eric, too, that both sides came away from that a little bit disappointed? The left more so.
Yeah, well, yes. I'm disappointed that I'm not seeing a perp walk of Joe Biden, because I believe, the more I hear about it, that he was involved. He was aware. He was the reason Hunter was getting $8.5 million from foreign governments while Joe Biden was vice president. And if he was, and lied about it straight through, he shouldn't. If he was. Well, final thought?
Our friend Peter Schweitzer, he came out again today. He's always doing yeoman's work. He came out again today with more evidence reported that Joe Biden knew everything that Hunter was doing with the Chinese and that they actually attended meetings together. Things like that. That wasn't mentioned, but the public needs to know things like that. And had we known things like that during the campaign that the left and the media had all covered up, perhaps it would have been a different outcome.
I got to go. I just want to tell you, great shot, beautiful view of Alaska in your background. I like a little fertilizer over your right shoulder, screen left. Maybe a little hit it with a little fertilizer. Governor Sarah Palin, thank you for joining us.